Hi, my name is Summer, and I would like to have a conversation about the N word. Yes, nigga. I will not say it with the hard R because I know that it will offend a lot of people. And so there are those who would prefer that you just call it the N word. And most people in the world know exactly what word you're talking about when you say the letter N word. And obviously, this is because this word has been used as a racial slur, and it originated from the Latin Niger, which was then turned to Negro by the Spanish, uh, which would be nègre in French, and it means black. And it is a way to refer to black people. And of course, black people are not black like the color black, but that is something that we have taken on as a way to refer to ourselves. So we also have taken the word, the N word, and we have embraced it as a term of endearment amongst ourselves in the black community. There are those who feel that it shouldn't be used at all. There are those who should not use it at all. And I believe that if you are non black, you shouldn't use it at all. It is a word that is very racially charged. It is a word that is really upsetting because it has been used in such a derogatory way for a very long time. And I have compiled a few notes to speak about it, the etymology of the word, actually. So, as I said, the origin is Latin, Niger, like the country, Niger or Niger, which is interesting because there the word does not upset people if you hear it, or if it's said. Of course, it's not spoken in the context of uh, attempting to offend. So, of course, it wouldn't be offensive then in that case. So, then the word became the N word with the hard R as a racial slur once the Europeans went to the continent of Africa and wanted to denigrate black people. So there have been many usages in the United States of the word in songs such as Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, Catch a Tiger by the Toe. It used to be Catch an N-word by the Toe. If He Won't Work, Let Him Go, or something, which was in 1906. And by the 1940s, it started to be recognized as a term of endearment amongst the Black community, which was then re-examined in the 1970s with the blaxploitation films and people embracing the word again in that way, once again in the Black community. And since white people, European people, are the ones who came up with the word to use it in a derogatory fashion, they should not say the word in any way, because they, though some may not mean to use it in a derogatory way, we are too offended by the fact that the white community as a whole, have so many people who have used it in that way, that it is a very touchy subject, a very charged, hateful word for Black people to hear spoken, said. There are also people who feel that you should be able to use it when you are just speaking about the word. I am not going to use it because I don't want to offend those people who did live in a time where it was used in the open, where of course now we know it's used and it is behind the scenes, behind closed doors, as it were. So an interesting note is that Latinos use the word, which they, since it's kind of used like as a term of endearment, like my homie, so they use my nigga or the word nigga, which is very interesting to me because it was never used on them, but they have embraced it. So that's a whole other conversation. So the word with the N-word with the hard R, at one point was used to taunt the military in the South, by people from the North, because the Southern military ended up inviting a lot of Black people to join the military. And they said that the military in the South must have been so weak that they needed Black people, which there are many reasons that they had Black people join the military. It was used, the N-word with the hard R was used in Gone with the Wind, many times. And then throughout history, there are people who didn't feel as if they belonged to America, such as Muhammad Ali in 1967, who said that he was not going to join the military because of extreme racism in the United States. And in 1968, James Brown had a song called Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. And that's another time when the N-word, as with a soft A, nigga, started being used again when black people embraced our culture, our hair, started calling ourselves black and beautiful, since we were referred to as the opposite of that for such a long time. And then in 1972, the movie Superfly came out, and with the blaxploitation films, then reemerged the word as a term of endearment, and it has come and gone since in the black community. Richard Pryor in 1979 had an album called Super N-word with the hard R. And the NAACP in the 80s, I believe, actually held a symbolic funeral with a casket that had the N-word in it to bury the N-word once and for all. So Richard Pryor himself actually used the N-word until around that time, and then stopped using it. And then Spike Lee brought it back in Do the Right Thing in 1989. In 1988, NWA used the word in their album Niggas with Attitude, and once again just embraced the word as a term of endearment amongst black people. So, and Eazy-E is one of the people who equated the N-word to the word homeboy. Pulp Fiction in 1994 used the word, but white people using the word. And there are many people throughout history who have used it and gotten in trouble for using it, such as a white police detective during the O.J. Simpson trial, Mark Fuhrman, I believe, in 1995, who they had found apparently used the word many times. Seinfeld's Michael Kramer used the word in 2006 on stage at the Laugh Factory because of a heckler who apparently was a black individual. And he said, "Throw him out, he's an N-word. Look, there's an N-word," repeatedly, which I hear is what practically ended his career. And I saw that clip and it was pretty atrocious. Guns N' Roses used the N-word in one of their songs, I can't remember which one it was, but it said police and N-word with the hard R, get out of my way. And I remember the first time I heard that and was appalled. I love Guns N' Roses. I loved Guns N' Roses. I was very upset with them at the time when I heard that. Of course, there are people who want to say that they are using it to say ignorant people or something, which does not fly with me. But we'll say those who use it in that way are ignorant. And then it was used in football, on the football field by Colin Kaepernick. I'm not sure how he used it, but then there were people who said that all curse words should not be allowed, should be banned if the N-word is banned, which the N-word is not a curse word, so that's also interesting. And I believe that was Richard Sherman of the Seattle Seahawks in March of 2014 who made that statement. And so here we are in 2023, still divided as to how, when, where, and why the word should, could, would be used, if at all. It is considered to be one of the most vicious words in the vernacular. And the interesting thing is that it's a word that comes from the United States in particular. And the United States has actually never existed without the word. And so people want to know why Black people use the N-word. And there are many people who explain this in different ways, such as Drew Dinsky. Dr. Caprice Collins, with Facing Race, a race consultant with Facing Race, spoke on it, saying that maybe you'll have to go look that up because my notes on it are not complete. So excuse me for that. That's what it was. Drew Dinsky is a YouTuber who speaks about the word being used in Niger. And he actually said the N-word on his YouTube channel on that episode, which he said it with a hard R. I'm not sure why, Drew, you did that. Another way that white people are always kind of trying to get away with using the word. Don't do that. Please, don't do that. You're not allowed to use it. Just don't use it. There are words that some people should not use, and the N-word is not the only one, and I will get to that. So, let's see. In 1587, the English used the word negar, which was spelled Negar, that ended up being adapted by the mountain men in the U.S., changing it to nigger, excuse me, Niggur. I didn't mean to say it, but I was not saying it with the ER, so I apologize to anyone who may be offended. And they also said that it meant unlikable men of all races in the 19th century during the Western fur trade. Okay. So then it also became the N word with the hard R, the ER, became a surname for local blacks to distinguish themselves from local whites with the same name. So it would have been N word John. Which, you know, I think is another word, another reason we stopped using white people's names. Well, not the only reason. Those are not names that fit us. But, and I say that, but I have one of the whitest white girl names ever, Summer. I am also the first black Summer. That's going to be in another conversation. So it's been used by, I'm really not going to go into how people used it to degrade their children and you know, to insult people, obviously, over and over and over again. And this is very interesting. So in America, in the U.S., in the United States of America, there was once a brand of oysters by York Rivers Oyster Company called N-Word Head Oysters brand from Baltimore, Maryland. So, there was also an N-word with the hard R, hair tobacco, smoking tobacco. You could smoke or chew it, and their slogan was long curly strands of sweet, clean tobacco. And by the 1940s, groups such as the NAACP charged companies with removing those names from their brands, and so then the N-word hair became bigger hair. In 1874, a board game called Chopped Up N-Words was available, as well as a puzzle of the same name. And there are pictures that you can find of these products. Actually, one of my favorite YouTubers, Intellectual Media, maybe? Lectual, that I got a lot of this information from, actually has the pictures of the original products. Mark Twain's book Huckleberry Finn uses the word over 200 times with the hard R. And then I wanted to find Lexual. It's Lexual, Lexual, but it's Intellectual is her YouTube channel. I don't yet know how to link things and add pictures and all that like she does. She has an amazing channel. Hers was one of my favorite on the N-word. Please go listen to her. I watch her. She talks about all kinds of things. So, Ta-Nehisi Coates also speaks about the word. There was a a discussion that a panel that he was at. It, I'm looking for that my notes on that. Maybe I took them down somewhere else. Where a white girl asked him what she should do when her friends, who are obviously black, are listening to music that has the N word, usually nigga, Nigga, in it, and it's repeated over and over again, and they are saying it, and she has to hear it, and also doesn't say it because she knows that she shouldn't. And she also said something about maybe until reparations go into effect. No, 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 girl, no. Yes, give us reparations. No, that is not going to allow you to then use the word. Please stop. Just stop. Anyway, he said to her, it would be like my wife calling me honey, which is very sweet. And then as we're walking down the street, a random lady calls me honey. Well, that may lead someone to think that he had a relationship with the lady. So maybe she shouldn't call him honey. Another example he gave is so these are just words in general that relate to some people that don't relate to others. So if someone is, there's so many things. So there are words that people who are gay use amongst themselves that you shouldn't use because that's offensive to them. There are people who, and that's actually what the lady, I remember now, she was saying there are people who are overweight who, if they say something about overweight people, say they make jokes, they can do that if they're overweight too. But if you're not, you shouldn't do it. And so there are words that things that white people he spoke about that they can say that you shouldn't say. Those are all other conversations, that those specifics that I'm not going to go into what those words are because I am just concentrating on the N word. But to let her know that whenever, that's just how we deal with people in society across the board. But whenever black people want to claim something and own it for ourselves, there's always someone, usually white people, saying, no, you can't do that. Why can you do it and I can't? Well, you're not going to take the word from us. We took it, we turned it into something else, and there are those of us who use it, who like to use it, who want to use it, and should be allowed to use it. And you aren't privy to it. And that's because of your own doing. So, the reason I wanted to have a conversation about the N word is because I have a song that I just did that is coming out on August 8th. And yes, I would like for you to listen to it. It will come out on my YouTube channel. I have two YouTube channels, one that comes out with my music through United Masters, and then the other one, which is Surreal Summer Topic, and then this one, Surreal Summer, I believe, uh, where I have music videos, and now this conversation, um, and other things that I would like to start speaking about. But I use the word, the N word, not the N word, not with the hard R. So I use my nigga in it. And so, yes, I like to use the word. I feel that it makes me, yeah, like a term of endearment, closer to Black people. It's something that we have amongst ourselves that we can have fun with and play with, and it obviously I'm smiling. It brings me joy, and some people might not understand that, and that's okay. I've had white people who, friends of mine, tell me they don't understand why I want to use it, and I told them, it's something that we have that you can't take from us. And the fact that it is one of the words in the world that is so so heated. It's such a serious word. It's a deep word. It's a very touchy subject, a very touchy word. I like that. It gives us a certain power to have something that makes so many people comfortable, uncomfortable. People want to talk about it. It's a cool word, whether you like it or not. It's here. It's not going anywhere. And I use it in my song, and I wanted to just have a conversation about it because I have refrained from using it in the past in songs where I wanted to use it, where I thought it really got the point across that I wanted to get across better than any other word or any other way that I felt I could get it across. And so there you have it. There is my conversation on the N word, and I would like to hear what you think about it, and let's see, where it goes from here, right? So there's my discussion on the etymology of the N word, and I hope that I enlightened you in some way, and if anything, just started a conversation that I feel really needs to be had amongst all communities. And didn't mean to leave Asian people out, but I don't know if they are known to use it. If they do, they shouldn't use it amongst themselves as a term of endearment. uh, and they shouldn't use it in a derogatory way. But I just wanted to cover every ethnic group because we all exist, right? We uh, cohabitate on this planet, and everyone should get uh, their time in the limelight, right? All right, thanks so much. I really appreciate you listening to what I had to say, and I will have many more things that I will be speaking on coming up very soon. Okay, ciao.